Would you state your name and business?
Jerry Martinez, CJ's Diner.
And how long have you been in business?
20 years at this location.
Jerry, what does it mean to you to own and run your own business?
It's actually been very important for me to kind of walk through some of this right here because I've had reminders. I've actually helped a couple of my own employees start their own business. And literally, just about a month ago, one of my waitresses, 24 years, called me and said, I just want to apologize. She said, I never understood what it was like to own my own business. And I think that's when I'm able to communicate, it's like I don't have to make anything up. We've lived the life and we've done the things that people do in community. And owning a business is such a vital part of who, our community is and any community. So.
Will you share a little bit about what you do as a business in the community? I know you're very involved in the community. So,
anytime we have like a meeting with our employees, one of the things we talk to them about is, Durango Joe has all the Durango Joe's coffee things, and he does a book, and it's called "It's All About My Why." It's like, what is your why? And your why represents what you represent. Like, what is your mantra? What do you believe in? And it's funny because I shared with my wife, I said, that book wasn't around when I started doing my why, but I read the book and it really made me realize that what we share with our employees is that we're really not a restaurant. You can go get a hamburger or eggs, whatever. You can get that anywhere. We represent something that people need in their lives, and that's community. When our customers come in, these employees know what's going on in their life, and you have people that have lost spouses, you have people that have lost kids, things like that. And so to me, the greatest thing that I can do as an employer is be sure that they're an extension of who we are. And it's really just, sharing that love, And one of the things I'm always trying to teach them as well is being involved in community. So that means having to sacrifice. I serve on 3 boards right now. I'm the president of the 100 Club, which supports all our first responders. I'm on the fire board, and then I'm on the Mercy Foundation board, which helped build the hospice house. Probably too involved. Serve on church council, things like that. But at the same time, it's like those are the things that outside of my business, they make me feel good, make me feel like I'm doing the right things. And I think it's easier to have an influence if you're involved like that. Because too many people in authority and in leadership always are criticized, but they're also not told when they're doing something good. Or when you're involved in those types of things, you're involved in communicating those things with other leaders in your community. So, and then I coached high school basketball for 25 years. So all those are just really important things for me in my life.
When we had the first shutdown earlier this year, how did that affect you and your business?
Well, we'd never had to do that before. And it was the most depressing thing when you'd come in to your business and your chairs are up and nobody in here. And so we tried doing delivery and pickup, and that's an established thing that we already have. But anyway, it was pretty sad. And we did that for about 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks, and finally decided that just wasn't worth it. And I think that's really when most everybody shut down. So we took, I want to say it was about 8 weeks that we shut down. Did some few little things. It was feeding the front lines. So we were called to help do that. And so we did that. Didn't create much revenue. And then I didn't think that we would apply for the PPP loan, but we ended up doing it. And so that was more about your employees. Really didn't do anything for your business. It didn't create revenue or any cash flow for that. And we're just hopefully at the end of that where that gets forgiven. But so we did that, and then when it was time to reopen, we actually had a fire up at Vallecito, and we've always, for 40 years, we've actually fed firefighters. And so when that happened, I barely had enough food to do their dinner and their breakfast the next day. And I told my wife, I said, I have to open. I said, because that may be the only thing that gets us through this whole thing, because our weddings were canceling left and right and that. And sure enough, within 2 weeks after that, we were feeding a group out in the old Fort Lewis farm, Monday or 7 days a week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if we wouldn't have had that, we wouldn't be open. That's what people don't realize, is that those things are real. Like, you really don't have money to, survive. And so we were very fortunate, and, God's hand of provision, we see evident throughout our 20 years of this business. So
talk about that for a minute. I know you've been open about the money that you've lost, and then you do catering as well. I know there were a lot of cancellations, and that, hand in hand with the business being shut down, you lost a lot of revenue. When you opened back up and you're running for a while, everything was sort of back to normal. And then came the second shutdown. What were your thoughts and feelings about that?
As I look back on it now, I don't think they should have shut us down the first time. And that would have probably solved a lot of what we're going through right now. You wouldn't have people in the place they're at, because you made them lose 3 or 4 months of fairly decent business, because really into May, you actually get some revenues there. And but by then, people had already started canceling the weddings. Not only our weddings, but our catering's 50% of our business. So it hit us hard, and we felt like it was something that we had to begin to help, not just with CJ's, but as a community. So I got a little more involved with some other people and started talking about their businesses, what they're walking through and stuff like that. And I think it prepared us for when they did shut us down, that we weren't ready to lay down. But it's painful to see. I know what we feel, and we've been here forever. And we're very fortunate. We have people that support us because they know us, but there's people up and down the street that they don't know, and they don't get that same kind of support. And I think that's the thing that bothers us more than anything. So,
if you were to think about not being able to keep your business open, what does that mean to you?
That's your life. It goes back to my why. It's not just about your income. It's not about a business. It's your life. It's all we know. It's what I've done for 48 years. So it's not something I've just picked up or a habit or something like that. It's the reality of your life and everything you poured into it. And I think that's a hard part for me to grasp when I hear people push back, whether it's city council, whether it's whoever it is. I've talked with county commissioners, and it's like they say, we get it, we understand. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you don't. You don't know what my shoes are like, or I can tell you how many other people, that are walking through things that are, and I guess part of our problem is we know too many people. So like Nicole, Home Slice Pizza, Corey's walking through cancer. We know the stories that are out there. And it's like, that's one additional thing that these people are having to carry and walk through that at a time like this. So,
when you and Carrie made the decision that this time you were not going to shut down, I'm sure that was a very hard decision, and also a very emotional one too. You have kind of become in everybody's mind sort of the scapegoat in this. I know that a lot of people support you, but I know that it is very hard as well. Just talk about your devotion to fighting this fight.
I think it goes back to, something I said earlier, and that's that I think the health department probably looks at us and thinks it's about CJ's, our own personal fight and selfishness, because that's some of the comments you see out there too is, wow, their community, they're selfish. They're just caring about, it's like, no, there's people out there in the community would love to do what we did, but they're afraid. And so we feel like we didn't take this torch up to support just what we're doing. We feel like we're doing something for this community. And because if somebody doesn't, I think we're in trouble as a community, because I look at it like I've never met Leanne from the health department, so I'm not judging anything with that, but she could be gone in 6 months. But I'm from here. I've lived here. People have lived here. And this is our community, and it could be destroyed. And no big deal. And I think that's been a huge concern. But we feel like we're fighting for the people that can't fight. We have a platform. We are from Durango. We have community. We're involved in so many different things that we feel like we have the support and, like I said, the platform to be able to tell people what we're doing, why we're doing it. So, and the outpouring of support's just been insane. I think that's the emotional part of the whole thing, is that you kind of feel a little bit of weight on your shoulder and that, but at the same time, I've always believed God's prepared us for this time. So, I don't see that I have a choice, I guess. But we felt like we we call it pushing the needle as far as we could. Our lawyers got involved, and so that's when they said we probably ought to abide, and so for further stuff.
Lastly, what's the most important thing that you would like everyone watching this to know? What is your stance behind keeping this wonderful place open?
I think the biggest thing is it's kind of hard for me to fathom, but it's not just it's our country is divided, our state's divided, our city's divided. I mean, there's so much division, and I think I've been quoted in the Herald saying it. I don't want to I don't want to sow division in my community. It's the last thing I want. And I feel like we're speaking out and hoping that people will gain courage themselves, not necessarily to rebel to that point, because that wasn't fun, but to stand up and know that they're important. I think that's the biggest message we're trying to tell other businesses in this community is you're no less important than we are. And what happens to your business, your families is important to us. And we feel like we have to work together to do it. And I hope that somehow through this that, again, my meeting with the city manager, I was very thankful for it, for one, but I felt really good about his vision and the type of person he seemed to be. I hope that it comes true. I texted him after I was done and just said, I hope that we are here to help and pray for your success in this community. So, I mean, we just believe that somehow through this, maybe our community will come together more. I think more than anything, because division's not good. And that's the thing about Durango. Durango is such a special place. And we see that being broke apart, like little pieces of rock being chopped off because of the divisiveness. And, I think it's kind of hard for me to say that we want to bring peace, even though we rebelled against that. But we felt like it was something we had to do. And so we hope people will understand our perspective.